In today's episode, CEO almost fired me on the spot. You keep sending us bad parts. When users blatantly ignore me. We already tried to fix it ourselves. Restore file and. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. CEO almost fired me on the spot. So I worked at tech support for a big German retailer, and the CEO's laptop needed some updates on several programs because we weren't allowed to push that remotely on him, his rule. I go into his office, and he was already annoyed about the fact it was going to take longer than 2 seconds. So he said he was going on a break. I do the thing and left. Took me 30 seconds. I get a call from him 5 minutes later. You ruined up my computer, my screen is flashing and I can't press anything. Get in here now. Sweat pouring down my back as I took the elevator and came back in. What did you do? I can't do sh*t here without you guys messing up every tiny thing. I swear I'm getting a whole new department if this sh*t happens again. I looked, screen flashing, couldn't even get to reboot. Panic intensifies. I look over to his side of the desk, and there's a remote numpad with a folder on the enter key. I pushed the folder off the thing and couldn't hide the grin off my face. This didn't happen, okay? Don't tell anyone downstairs. You keep sending us bad parts. So this happened sometime in the late 90s. I was working for a company that sold and leased new and used IT equipment of all types. At the time, Sun Microsystems equipment were hot items and was a major part of the business at the time. This story is about the EX500 series, X being 3, 4, 5, or 6 depending on how many CPU/memory or I/O slots in the system. It was an easily upgradable system until you were maxed out on slots. Now normally most people would fill these slots with CPU/memory or I/O boards and connect a hard drive array for storage. But you could purchase a hard drive board for the system. It was the same footprint as the CPU/memory and I/O boards. You just needed to plug a SCSI cable into an I/O and terminate the last hard drive. Okay, on to the story. I got an order one morning for a hard drive board for the EX500 system. I pulled one from inventory, finished my paperwork, and dropped it off in shipping. A couple of days later, I have the sales guy freaking out since the customer claimed the board was bad. I showed him my test results. I keep great records, and said maybe something happened to it in shipping. Anyway, I pulled another from inventory, brought it to the lab and fired it up, tested it for a few hours, and took it to shipping in the afternoon. They overnighted it to the customer. All is well, right? Next day I have the sales guy along with his, and my boss screaming about me sending out defective product. I tried to assure them everything was properly tested, but you'll know how that goes over. Anyway, after getting my butt chewed on for a while, I pulled another from inventory, brought it in the lab and started testing. In the meantime, we get deliveries and the first board I sent came back. I grabbed it and hooked it up with the other that was testing, and wouldn't you know it works perfectly. I informed my boss and continued testing until late afternoon. I take the third board down to shipping and again it gets overnight to the customer. Next day, everyone is yelling again that I'm sending defective product. At least this time my boss stood up for me since I showed him all the test results before shipping, and the first board tested fine and was returned to inventory. Finally, they decide they will have the customer IT guy call me and try to resolve this issue. After chatting with him for a while, going over everything I could think of, I said, "It sounds like you've tried everything that I would. Maybe you have a bad SCSI cable." He replied, "SCSI cable?" I said, "Yeah, you still need to connect the board to the I/O with a SCSI cable." Click. He hung up on me. At least I ended up getting a laugh out of it. When users blatantly ignore me. Sometimes this job is just a fever dream, but I was able to extract this one. I once had someone at a nearby company blatantly ignore me so many times that I went down there to prove I was right. I'd been trying to direct them to plug their computer into a specific wall port, Ethernet, that I knew was patched in. They insisted that port didn't exist as there was a printer there, and that instead it must be this port. Only this port doesn't work. Insert snide remarks about not doing your job here. I'm sure you all know what "there's a printer in the way" means. I had been trying to explain that the printer had been moved in the way of the port. They insisted that it had always been there. This person sits with their back to this printer every single day. I don't even work there and I knew it had been moved, but this tossing quit, this unmoving, unbreathing, unthinking golem of a human being was adamant that it had been there since the dawn of time, and that there was no port there, and no, they wouldn't be checking just in case. So I hop on my bike, fly there in a fit of rage, walk in, say hello, move the printer, and gesture at the lovely patched wall ports. I'd like to be able to end this story by saying that I took the law into my own hands and went down in a blaze of glory, but I suppose the satisfaction of making them look a twat is enough. We already tried to fix it ourselves. Hello again. While looking through the comments of my last post, I remembered a story a coworker once told me. Let's call him Tim. Tim once worked as service technician for a rather large company which sold printers among other things. He normally drove to customers to repair everything printer related. Once a customer called complaining about one of their printers, one of those big office printers, not the small ones you put on your desk. Important later on, not feeding paper incorrectly. Tim thought about some things that might cause this problem while driving something around 300 kilometers to them. Tim was warmly welcomed and was given some coffee before they sent him out to the office the printer was located. He came into the office and asked where the printer was. They told him they tried to fix it themselves, so they moved it into another office for space reasons. He was handed a jar full of screws, which was suspicious by itself, and walked to the other office. Turns out by fixing it themselves they meant taking the whole thing apart. Every screw they could find was in said jar. The smaller parts like motors, smaller plastic stuff and such were stored in another jar, and bigger parts from the housing were just laying around the office. They even took the gearbox apart. After a minute of awkward silence they asked him if he could put it back together. He told them that putting the printer back together was most likely more expensive than just buying a new one, but they insisted. Tim called his boss to ask what to do. Boss approved to putting it back together. So he took his time putting it back together, which took around 9 hours, remember, everything. Every single piece, every single screw, resulting in a massive bill. They never heard from this customer again. Probably some higher-up complained about this more than stupid decision. I really don't know what is going on in some people's heads. Sometimes I'm glad that such people don't drink from the bucket while cleaning. Restore file end. Hello there. I thought you guys might enjoy this. I recently had this call into our college help desk, and I can't believe this happened. This woman was a teacher in a town over an hour away and on an adjunct campus for reference. Phone rings. IT help desk, this is me, how can I help you? Yes, my laptop has blue screened on me, and I need help fixing it. I'm sorry to hear that. Is this a university laptop or one bought from your department? A university laptop, can you send me the restore file? I'm sorry ma'am, did you say restore file? Yes, you know the file where it's kept with you guys in case I need to restore it from that file. I'm sorry ma'am, but I don't believe we have anything like this. Yes you do. I talked to my boss, and I know you guys do. Ma'am, I can assure you we don't. If you want I can go to my boss and confirm this. Don't bother. I'll call him myself, so help me another way. I can do that. The good news is that since it's a university laptop you should be under warranty. That's good to hear. What do I need to do? I'll need you to send your laptop to us, and we can send you a temporary one until it's fixed. That won't do. I have files on this laptop that I need. I'm sorry ma'am, but if the computer has blue screened of death I'm afraid they are already lost. Fine then, can you send me the disk so I can put Windows back on it? I'm sorry. The disk. The disk you use to get Windows on the computer. Ma'am, I apologize, but we don't have an operating system disk to do that. Why not? Ma'am, operating system disks haven't been used in quite a few years. You're not listening. I will talk to my boss about this and he'll get this sorted. Very well, do you need his number? No, I don't. I can't believe this. I used to work at help desk, and I know you guys do this. She then hung up. I really wonder just how long ago she worked at the help desk. Edit, since a lot of you have pointed this out, I do want to clarify this. I was not aware that you can recover files from the BSOD. This is something that I've always been told, and no one has told me otherwise. Thanks to those who told me how you can recover the files and what causes a blue screen of death. I also want to point out that I'm a work study, not a professional by any means. In fact, the side I operate on is completely work study and used as a learning experience for those going for the CIS degree or used by students who need a job they know can work around their schedule. We mostly just deal with tickets, setting up people's devices on Wi-Fi, and guiding people on how to activate their accounts so they can use their school-related tools. This is one of the rare calls we get where something we're not too knowledgeable on just yet comes at us. During this call, I did go to my boss and simply followed his instructions on how to deal with the problem. Some of you have also said that there might be a lack of training. You are kind of correct here. Our training, which is often done by other work study who have simply been there longer, only consists of how we help users set up their devices to the Wi-Fi, how to use our tech checkout system, how to basic troubleshoot, and how to tell people how to reset passwords. The rest we learn on our own. I'm not making excuses on my lack of knowledge, but some of you are being kind of rude in the comments, so I figured I should at least put this in here so you understand my situation a bit more.